I don't have to do that till after the day before, the day after Mary's birthday.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I'm not ready.
We're all
Baby.
good.
I'm still a new baby.
So we put Senator Pratt under 2 as a legislative update. So, yeah, because he has to go, but if we could do the recognition, then him, and then...
Oh, it is.
Okay. That's it?
This is okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that is Mark and I.
Okay.
Oh, look at that.
It'll go from 35 to 4 in the audience in a hurry.
Somebody just
So maybe what you might want to mention is that when we do recognition and then Senator Pratt, there's a natural time in here. We'll do Pratt right after the recognition, and that's a natural time when people can leave then, so that we can clear it out because there's a lot of people kind of standing. We've outgrown this space a little bit.
They don't want themselves.
Does that make sense?
So we're now seeing
August, Osage
yeah.
County.
Oh, no, Frozen. Let's watch Frozen again.
No, Frozen would be good. I've heard August, Osage County was just like one
For
of
a
the
second. Must have changed a little bit.
have you seen it? I've heard it's,
Yeah.
like, some movies make you uncomfortable in a good way.
Yeah.
Like that when you're uncomfortable 2 minutes in and you want to leave, and it gets
Really?
no better.
That's when
Like,
we
there's
have
no
Full House.
positive, there's no story, there's
It's
no,
full tonight.
it's just a dysfunctional family.
Although we're going to lose 90% up here as soon as we do
Should never
the
have
recognition.
No,
It ruined Anchorman.
it didn't
I
ruin
don't
it.
think the
Well,
system's
it ruined my
on yet.
perception of
Yes.
Anchorman.
I laughed more during the first 30 minutes
Sarah,
of Wolf of Wall Street
is the system on
than all
yet?
of Anchorman.
Can you hear Mary?
Yep,
You're on.
You
my
can?
God,
Okay.
I heard something.
like
Chuck value? Make sure my phone.
yes.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Shakopee Board meeting of April 14th, 2014. Can I please have a roll call?
Bird.
Here.
Bowerman.
Yes, ma'am.
Hallett.
Here.
McKeon.
Here.
Swanson.
Good evening.
Tucker.
Here.
And Romansky.
Here. I'd like to recognize any visitors to tonight's board meeting. Anybody that's not on the agenda that would like to come forward? Seeing no one, we'll move right to 2.1, which is recognition of state level competitors. I believe we have a few people here.
Come on up, John.
Come on up.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chairman Romansky. I'm John Jake here, Activities Director, and we do have some recognitions tonight. And to move things along, I'd like to first bring up our head wrestling coach, Mark Nye, to share a few words with you and share his state competitor athletes with you as well. So bring up Coach Nye and some of the young men, I believe they're all here. So want to come up with them, guys, and they'll share a few words. Thank you.
First of all, thank you for having us here, and we've got a number of guys here that we'd like to introduce and recognize for their accomplishments on the wrestling season. Our wrestling team finished 24-5 on the year, conference champions, second in the section, 4th year in a row second, but we're working on that. This year we had 7 state qualifiers. It's been the most in Shakopee history, and 4 place winners, which matches our best ever. But have them introduce themselves, and I'll start over there with Alex.
I'm Alex Crow. I wrestled 113.
And your parents are.
Oh, my parents are Rob and Nancy.
I'm Alex Lloyd. I wrestled 120 this year. My parents are Bill and Karen.
Hi, I'm Brent. I wrestled 106 this year, and my parents are Jenny and Bryce Jones.
Hi, I'm Owen Webster. I wrestled 152, and my parents are Pam and David.
I'm Tyson Leon. I wrestled 132, and my parents are Monty and Barb.
I'm Michael Wagner. I wrestled 170. My parents are Ann and Steve.
I'm Alex Coleman. I wrestled 138. My parents are Tom and Stephanie.
This is the best they've been behaved all week. I'd like to mention a couple of the guys here that placed in state. Alex Crow wrestled at 113 pounds and placed 6th in the state tournament, so he's all-state wrestler. Next to him is Alex first ever state champion. Brent Jones finished the season undefeated. Didn't beat by anybody. 41-0. 41-0 on the season. At 106 pounds. Next to him is our second state champion.
Most recent.
Most recent state champion.
Future in sales.
Owen Webster, a sophomore, and a fantastic state tournament. And these other two guys participated. Two of them won matches, the other one got beat his first round. But I'm very proud of all of them.
Yeah.
I want to thank the school board for their support and allowing us to go down there and celebrate. Lots of partners. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Outstanding.
The good news is we had state champions, but the bad news is we've never had them before, so we only have one certificate. So you guys are going to have to wrestle for them. So I believe these are in order. Alex,
3 out.
Oh,
Pro,
Yeah.
Lloyd, Alex Lloyd, Brent Jones, Owen Webster, Tyson Leah, Michael Wagner, and Alex Coleman. Congratulations, all of you. Thank you very much for representing our school so well. And I heard that Mr. Nye said that you were one of the most avid learners of his that he's ever had his team, who always wanted to continue learning how to be the best. And obviously you guys succeeded at that. Thank you very much.
There you go. You guys rotate yourself. All right. Thank you.
nice job, guys.
All right, thank you. Our next group, we're going to go to our boys basketball program, and to introduce some safety words regarding the boys basketball team. I don't think they're all here. The number of kids involved in spring activities and work and stuff as well. We're very fortunate to have all the wrestlers here because they're all involved as well. But we could welcome up our head coach, Bruce Guyath, and the team members that are here, please.
Very good.
I think I've talked about this before at our banquet, and this is a group that excels beyond the basketball court. They were academic state champions, or academic sectional champions this year. We have 2 4.0 students on our team, and our team grade point was 3.34, so I think that's something to really be proud of. And they've also been a team that has gone beyond just being basketball players. We've done a clinic for Special Olympics. We've gotten involved with Coaches versus Cancer and Feed My Starving Children. And they're just tremendous to our little ball boys that come, the third graders that come and spend time with us at our games. So they're way beyond what they've done in basketball. And we came, with any of you that followed us, we came with about that close to being in the state championship game, and we were looking forward to it because we had played Lakeville North in a 3-point game earlier in the year. So we felt we came pretty close, and we knocked on the door, but we did something only 8 teams get to do, and that's we won the last game of the year. So this is our 3rd place state championship team, and we've got a good representation here, but I'm going to have them introduce themselves to you.
I'm Michael Von-Madevon, senior, 5'10", over.
I'm James Joyce, and I'm also a senior.
I'm Evan Hagan, and I'm a junior.
Zach Entrum, senior.
Jake Myers, senior.
Dominic Schlepper, senior.
This was a team that was very exciting to watch. We had 11 games this year that were decided by 5 points or less. So it's been a real pleasure for me in my advanced age to coach a team like this. And they've been just nothing but a very pleasure and a great representation of our school. So thank you for having us here. We really appreciate it.
have, 5 minutes till we have to finish up with this, so I'll just stand here for a few minutes. Until we're ready to go.
Mary James could talk for
No, I was just gonna stand here and wait till the 5 minutes was up, and then just 30 seconds before, kind of hand out the, you represented the district so well with the way you played, and I guess you were the favorite team of all the finalists there because of the way you played. You certainly outshined Hopkins in your demeanor, and we really appreciate what you guys did for the district. And I have certificates for Dominic Schlepper. Never heard that name in this district. Jake Myers. Is that Evan Hagan. James Joyce. And Michael, I'll let you say your own name.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One picture, maybe do 2 rows. Yeah, thank you.
There we go.
There you go.
All right, thank you. We have one more group, and our last young lady just entered here. So our most recent state competitors that just finished up this past weekend at Wayne High School in the state speech competition. So to introduce them and say a few words about the season, I'd like to introduce our coaches, Rachel Evenson and Katie Tapp.
Hi, I'm Rachel, and this is Katie, and we are the coaches of the Shakopee speech team. These 3 young ladies were able to compete at the state tournament this past weekend. Our program has grown exponentially over the last few years, and we've been working very diligently to make sure that they achieve the excellence that is Shakopee. And one of the things we work really hard on is making sure that they're good competitors and good sportsmen, and that we always try to be as polite and courteous as possible at tournaments. So anyway, these 3 young ladies were are very accomplished. We have Victoria. You want to say a little bit about your category?
I am in great speeches, so we take a historic speech and analyze it. I'm Ayushi Jain, and my category is called creative expression, in which I basically just write my own piece.
I'm Bonia Bichu, and I'm in prose. It's kind of like drama, so you act out a play that you get.
And we're lucky enough to know what they've ranked out of all of the students that compete in their category in the state. Bonia is 7th in the state in her category. Ayushi is 10th, and Victoria was 13th, and that's out of a couple hundred other competitors in the same category.
It's nice to see such a nice group of girls. I remember when I was in high school and college, speech and debate was something I did. And of all the things I learned at that time, I think speech, being able to get up and speak in front of people, has helped me immensely. And all the friends I made and all the fun I had just made it a very special experience for me. So congratulations and thank you for representing us at state and doing such a wonderful job. Bonia? Ayushi? Victoria? Thank you very much. As much as we would like to have everyone stay for our meeting, you're very welcome. You're welcome to leave now.
Can we just take a 2-minute communication?
And we'll take just a 2-minute break here anyway.
We're going to take just a 2-minute communication break.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's all
cool.
Yeah, I'll call it.
Did you enjoy your meeting? I got my wait till 5 minutes till 30 seconds.
You know, as many
many, as we're getting going to state nowadays, we might have to actually expand our board just for that reason.
What a problem to have.
Yeah, what a tough problem.
What a problem to have.
We're good. Thanks, John.
Thanks, John. Thanks, John. So many people are left.
Now we got chairs.
We'll go, we're gonna have to go to consideration of the
Yeah,
agenda.
to add.
Yeah. It's gonna be kind of difficult to add something before we consider the agenda. So we'll go to item 3, consideration of the agenda. And we have one addition at our desk.
Yep, we have one addition, 2.2. We have the privilege of having Senator Eric Pratt here to do a very, just a brief legislative update or maybe any kinds of Q&A we might want with Eric, and that's our only additional agenda item.
So is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The agenda stands approved. And we'll go back to 2.2 and Senator Pratt.
As Senator Pratt comes up here, of all of the legislators I've had the privilege to work with, Senator Pratt has been by far the most consistent, the most concerned, the person who's come to me the most for advice or counsel, and I've really appreciated you seeking input throughout the short time that I've been here and the short time I've known you. You've done an outstanding job. The superintendents respect the work you do, and we really appreciate all the efforts you're putting in down or up in the Twin Cities. So thank you for being here.
Well, thank you, Superintendent, Madam Chair, and Board. It's a privilege to be here. As many of you know, I served on a school board for many, many years as chairman and treasurer, and I think I have a very good understanding of the work that you do and the impact that you have on our children's lives. So thank you for your service to our kids. It's, as I was joking before, you guys actually get to see results. Now, sometimes it's St. Paul, I don't feel that way. But I am trying to work hard to represent all of our communities and all of our school districts to make sure that we can get the right twist on legislation that's going to be helpful to all 3 of the school districts in my Senate district, which are Prior Lake, Shakopee, and Jordan, as well as all 3 cities. So I just talked to Superintendent Thompson and said, gee, I'd like to come sit for a few minutes, and then he invited me to speak, and I went, oh shoot, I better get ready for this. And a couple of things he talked about. We have a supplemental spending bill. We just passed the anti-bullying bill, also known as Safe and Supportive Schools. And then just another bill that may be of interest to you, the Health Insurance Transparency Act, or the PEAK bill, as we like to call it. So just real quick on the supplemental spending, I can speak to the Senate bills more than I can the House bills. They're going into conference committee, but the Senate has proposed spending $209 million extra this year. The spending that would go forward then would add an extra $740 million to the budget ongoing. As far as the part on education, the Senate's proposed spending an extra $41 million in 2015, and then that would be an extra $66 million in ongoing spending out in the tails based on that. And it's being based on the current surplus of $1.2 billion. The Senate bill is heavily skewed to early childhood. Almost 70% or $28 million of the $41 million that the Senate's proposed would go to early childhood. $16 million for school readiness and ECFE, and an additional $12 million for early learning scholarships. Only about $5 million really going to K-12 education, and most of that is targeted to ELL. I do think ELL is important and needs some additional funding. My personal preference is that we would have given the board more autonomy and authority to adjust the spending as they saw needed. Another piece is a small amount going to covering reduced lunches to make those as a non-cost to poor and working families, and then a small amount in one-time funds for teacher evaluation for non-Q comp schools. Teacher evaluation has not been delayed. It was a key portion of, or a key provision in our waiver for No Child Left Behind, and so that will continue to be moving forward. Just as a comparison, where the Senate proposed spending $41 million in 2015, the House proposed $75 million in additional spending, of which about 75% would be at the discretion of the board. So putting more of it on the formula than really targeting it. As far as safe schools, that bill passed, and a lot of changes went into it. Superintendent Thompson, I appreciate your input on that. I tried to keep in close contact with all three of the superintendents, as well as superintendents throughout the state, to make sure that we got a bill that worked in all types of districts. I was a part of the negotiation team in the Senate to help get a number of changes as compared to the House version that passed last year. And so there were really some key provisions that got added. We really did tighten up the definition on bullying in the Senate version, reinforced that we were trying to protect all kids. The original version would have put schools in the role and responsibility of tracking kids for cyberbullying 24/7. This now just says that you have to deal with it if it becomes a problem in our schools. There's stronger parental notification in the current Senate bill than the House bill, where there's a presumption that we would notify the parents. There's fewer mandates on volunteer training, more local control on staff training and policy definition. We now have a right for the student to present a defense. So if they're accused of bullying in the past, in the previous version there was no provision for the student to defend himself. Now we have that. There's also a penalty for false reporting. So if a student falsely accuses another student, there's a penalty back on that student. And the Climate Center, which was one of the most controversial pieces of the legislation, was expected to go on in perpetuity. That'll be sunset after 5 years. Some of the provisions that still concern me is there's new powers for the Commissioner of Education to oversee local school districts and how they implement the bullying policy. And it sets it apart from any other policy because, really the Commissioner doesn't have a lot of direct oversight over school districts. But this is one where the language is kind of concerning in that she may be able to directly affect policies. I had wanted stronger parental notification, one that would more closely follow the Data Practices Act versus just a presumption. And unfortunately, we weren't able to get that. I also had an agreement to sunset the Climate Center after 3 years, and that was amended to 5 years on the floor. And so the concern there being is we could have the school climate center and the school climate council, which is an unelected board, sunset after 3 years and reauthorize it if there was a need. This puts it out 5 years and potentially keeps it ongoing for a longer period of time. And then there's also a financial impact to some of our outstate schools. Really, a lot of the work that suburban schools have done around this issue has been absolutely outstanding, and Director Tucker and I met and talked about some of the good things that were happening in Shakopee, and so that was helpful as I was working on this bill with the authors. And then I had also co-authored another bill that was based off the North Dakota law. It has an A++ rating for bullying police, no financial impact to schools. That would be mandated by the state. It was supported by the Attorney General prior to this discussion. And one piece that I really liked about the bill that we proposed was it provided safe haven or immunity for staff that were acting in good faith and within policy. And the current bill does not. And then the last update I wanted to give you guys just happened late last week was the Health Insurance Transparency Act, or we call it the PEAP bill. PEAP stands for Public Employees Insurance Program. And what this would do is require all districts to get a bid from PEAP every 2 years, unless it's agreed to go longer than that, for health insurance, so you have to rebid it every 2 years. And then it gives an extra $300,000 to PEEP to do these bids. Now, the concern I have with this is one, we're forcing a bid from a government entity when all indications show that every time PEEP is bid, or not every time, but most times PEEP bids, somebody else comes in with a lower bid or better services. The second piece is that it gives PEEP a little bit of a, they currently do these bids for free, so it doesn't seem like there should be an additional expenditure for them. Now, Superintendent, I can't remember, are you self-insured?
No, not at this time.
So for some of the districts that are self-insured, there's also a requirement that self-insureds go out and rebid their servicing. That was out of the Senate bill, but still in the House bill. And this is a bill that was strongly opposed by MSBA. So those are kind of the key updates as related to education. I'd be happy to take any questions that you might have.
Senator Pratt, remind me, I'm not in depth familiar with the Safe Schools Act, but as I recall reading one of the summaries that came from AMSD, it seemed like the school boards can enact a policy as long as it's in compliance with the majority of the model or in compliance with the model at the state level. In other words, we don't have to take what the state put and passed in law and just stick it in Shakopee. Is that right?
Exactly, and that was part of what I talked about as far as having more local control
Right.
over the definition and policy of bullying. That you can, just like you do probably with MSB model policies.
Yes.
You take them, you modify them to meet your needs, you can do the same thing with the state policy, as long as it meets some key provisions.
Exactly. Okay, good, thank you.
And that, I thought that was a positive change.
Senator, when did you say the PEEP bill will be on the floor?
Well, the PEEP bill passed the Senate last week, passed the House earlier, so it's going to conference committee. And so there were a few good changes that came out of the Senate version, and so we'll have to see where that goes. Again, I think that's going to be, in my personal belief, it's going to be a burden on school districts and make it harder, especially if you're in a co-op, to get, because you're going to be going out so often that you're not going to be able to take advantage of some of the long-term provisions. Now, there is an out there, and as long as your largest bargaining unit agrees to extend the contract, then you can go out as far as 4 or 5 years.
That maybe partly answers, then I'm guessing this must have been championed by Education Minnesota?
It was, Education Minnesota, at least from when I saw it, was the lead proponent.
But since it has that proviso that if your bargaining unit agrees not to go off, that's helpful.
Well, what we wanted to do is we wanted to say it should go out 4 years and then negotiate down to 2. Currently, so you have to go 2 unless you negotiate to 4. And that was based on 60% of districts and co-ops have 4 or 5 year agreements in place.
So it's going to make it mandatory that you go out get a bid from PEEP every 2 years?
Unless
Unless
your local bargaining unit agrees to extend it, but yes. So you have to get 3 bids, at least one of them has to be from PEEP.
So if you have a bid out there that might give you better, more aggressive price at the 3-year mark, you need to get your bargaining unit in.
The difference is the House bill says that the largest bargaining unit has to agree on which bidders are going to go forward. The Senate bill says you just need to consult. So it makes it a little better in choosing who the providers are.
Yeah. Senator, back to Safe Schools. When's the implementation deadline, and when must the local school boards have the policy in place, the revised policy?
Let me just double check here. I believe it's there are different. Got it here. There are different implementation dates. The model policy, the School Climate Center will go into effect July 1. Model policy, I believe, is effective next school year.
Okay, so I would assume MSBA is going to come out with their
come
their
out
version of
with
it.
it, yeah.
They're probably on top of that now.
and I believe the policy is like an October deadline. So the State Department of Education will come out with their model policy, and then you'll have a couple of months to take a look at it, modify it.
Any other questions?
I'll just say thank you for your service and representing our community well at the state level.
Well, thank you guys, and you know, what a treat to be here with the kids that have been doing activities. When I was on the school board, I was a strong proponent of activities, and not only hearing about their success in competition, but hearing their success in the classroom. And so congratulations to you and your staff for doing a great job.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. We'll move to item 4, consent items. Is there a motion to approve consent? So moved. Is it tie? Any discussion?
I would like to remove 4.1.1 with that.
Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We'll go to 4.1.
4.1.1 is retirements, and I just wanted to note that maybe it's just a big deal to me, but you have Neil Johnson on there, and Neil actually happened to be the last staff member in the school district that I actually ever saw in the school. He was a student teacher the year I was a sophomore, and then actually started at the school district years as a senior. But so that means he served a little bit over 35 years with our district. So
Dating him or dating